Now, in late March, the Pussy Riot activist Lucy Shtein put on a bright green food delivery uniform and she slipped out of her small Moscow flat. She'd been under house arrest there for more than a year as a long-time critic of the Putin regime that she'd been detained for a protest calling for opposition leader Alexei Navalny's release. Now, her girlfriend and fellow activist escaped similar charges, and the country and the pair are now reunited and performing in Europe to raise funds for Ukrainian refugees. I spoke to her about her nerve-wracking journey and a very special travelling companion. You escaped from Moscow in March after being under house arrest for over a year. Can you just explain why you were under house arrest?
I was under house arrest for the criminal case. It was like about so-called breaking COVID rules, but actually it was because of the protest rally. We participated to support Alexei Navalny, who was imprisoned after he was poisoned. It was a criminal case for 10 people. We were sent under house arrest for like half of a year. And after it, we were sentenced for the restriction of freedom. It's also like a house arrest.
So very difficult conditions to be living under. How did you manage to escape?
Firstly, it was a complete house arrest when I wasn't able to leave home anytime, but then it was like only a restriction for a night to leave apartment. So I had a daytime, and I left house like in the morning, and when they found out that I'm not there at my place, I already was too far.
And you wore a disguise.
I had to wear this suit, food delivery costume, and so when I realized that I have to escape from Russia, I just used this costume again.
And how did you manage to get from Russia to Lithuania, which is where you are now?
It were 3 cars. First car in Russia, then second car to Belarus, and third car to Lithuania, actually. But I'm not sure that it's a good idea to talk about this way and method a lot, because I'm not the last person who have to leave Russia this way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're saying you're not the only person, of course, who's had to leave Russia. I think your girlfriend has also managed to escape.
Yeah, she did the same thing after me.
And so, Lucy, you escaped Russia with somebody. Who did you escape with?
Mr. Red. Say hello.
How did you escape with him?
I put him in my delivery food bag, and he was staying there during this trip.
And how was he during the trip? Was he okay?
Yeah, he's a strong red. I think he understood that we have to leave our home.
Why did you decide to make your escape in March? Was that because the situation had got more dangerous after the invasion of Ukraine?
First of all, I realized that if before I wanted to wait for the end of my sentence and be able to leave Russia legally and to come back to Russia legally, I changed my mind after the invasion to Ukraine, because I understood that I don't want to live there anymore, even if they would leave me alone, and no jails, no arrest, no persecution. Even if I would be a free person in Russia, I just don't want to stay there anymore. If you're staying there or not even there, you just can't be silenced about what's happening. And if you can't, and if you call the war, it's also forbidden. You are risking like to be imprisoned for 15 years.
So if you criticise the war in Ukraine, you could go to prison for 15 years now. That's the
Yeah,
situation.
even if you're just calling the war, because our government calls it like special operation.
I think some people in the West don't understand why more people in Russia aren't protesting about Ukraine or aren't speaking out. Do you think that's because people support the war, or because people are too afraid about what would happen if they did speak out?
If Russian people would know the truth, they won't support the war, but not all of them, but I think a big part of them are just watching TV propaganda, and they don't know what's actually happening there, and they think that Ukrainians are Nazis and Russian soldiers are peacemakers.
Is it like being brainwashed?
Yeah, brainwashed. It's
Yeah.
a good word.
You're 25 years old. You've been under house arrest for a year. You had to flee your home. These are really big sacrifices for someone your age. You could have lived a much easier life. Why did you feel you had to do it?
If you live in Russia, you have to watch every day what's happening, and you just feel bad if you are silenced, and it's kind of it's for me it's this way. I just couldn't ignore it,
Even then, you
because
had to speak out.
yeah. And my mom yelled at me because stop it. Can you wait like several days, escape and post anything you want? But I couldn't, and it's even danger to to make a repost about war criminal, and about what happened in Bucha, for example.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been great to talk to you. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.